We're with Mark and Johanna, professors at USC. Mark and Johanna, we're here at the Film Society screening of. We have a collaboration of films. Can you guys expand upon that and let us know what we're going to see?
We're going to see 7 short documentaries made collaborations between students at USC and students at the Communications University of China in Beijing. Each year we do this program in the summer. Either we do it in Beijing, or at USC. We alternate years. We bring 6 or 7 students from China here, or we take 6 or 7 students from USC to Beijing.
What created to bring this together? Was it basically trying to open its doors, on how difficult was that to do this collaboration?
Well, the most interesting thing is that when we go to Beijing or when they come here, we pair them up. So you have 6 or 7 USC students and 6 or 7, and each pair has 6 weeks to make a documentary together. So all of a sudden they're collaborating with someone they just met for the first time, like meeting you today, and by tonight we would be making a film together. And we have a different culture, different language, different experiences, and somehow we learn to communicate.
So it's an experiment in both filmmaking and cross-cultural collaboration. So we each learn from each other. And the films are, Los Angeles and Beijing are both seen as sort of global cities. And the films that the students make have been fantastic about all kinds of subjects. In Los Angeles, the films are sort of motivated or led by Chinese students, and when we go to Beijing, it's the American students who sort of push the subjects.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a kind of a switch there, and I think part of it is being the host. You want to let the guest, have a good time. But then what's interesting to watch, especially in China, is at first the Chinese students are a little or more being a good host in that, and then after all, it switches after a while because the American students are technologically more advanced and they're used to doing whatever subject they want to do, and the Chinese students are not so used to doing whatever subject. Political subjects are not frowned upon a bit, So they get into the American spirit, and by the end, it's a very strong collaboration.
So it's also almost like a social experiment as well.
Absolutely. It's an attempt to communicate between 2 of the most important societies in the world today. I mean, if you go to China, you see that the incredible growth in China, and China is a country we have to learn to deal with and reckon with. And the Chinese students are really interested in coming to America. They're really interested in the kind of freedom that they have here to make films. And the American students are interested in the kind of censorship and self-censorship that goes on in China. And, they struggle with different values and how to get along together. So we think it's a terrific opportunity to develop relationships. And some of the people who work together continue their relationships. There have been extended relationships. American students go to China, Chinese students come here, and we're hoping that they will work together when they get out of school professionally.
If there are students that want to learn more about the program, where can they go to learn more about this program?
They have to be students at USC, but I think you can go to the USC US-China Institute website, and some of these films are on the website.
Right, yeah. USC
USC
China Institute, website.
So, you can, if you go to the main USC website, I'm sure you can get to it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you both for coming out, and can't wait to see the films.
Okay, thank you. It's wonderful to share them.
We're here with Tawny. Tawny, a USC filmmaker. Is that
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about your film and what it's all about.
Well, Turn of the Harvest is about 2 wheat farmers that lived in Datao, which is a small village that is about 3 hours outside of Beijing, and it really gets into the tumultuous relationship of these 2 individuals. And the turn of the harvest, the actual harvest of the wheat, is sort of the foil of the film.
Now, tell me about your experiences in Beijing and getting paired with your co-filmmaker out there.
Well, it's a little bit like speed dating. You have about 15 minutes to talk to everybody in the program and see who you have the best chemistry with. And I asked everybody in the program what their favorite pastime was. Everybody said shopping except for this one girl, Wulan Chana, who said photography. And so I thought, you are somebody who I'd love to work with. Not that there's anything wrong with shopping, but she sounded really interesting.
What kind of difficulties did you come across making the? Did you come across?
Well, we had to take 3 buses and 1 subway every day to get out to Datao, and we were lugging so much equipment. So physically it was really difficult. In the mornings, the buses were completely packed, so you're right up against a wall or up against somebody's leg. So I think that was probably the most difficult part. In terms of the story, I think we were really fortunate to have 2 incredible subjects who let us into their lives, and so things kind of unfolded pretty magically. We both agreed that we wanted to kind of let the story find itself and unfold versus figuring out what their conflict was and then hammering away questions.
What did this program? Did this program teach you something? Did this program give you a new appreciation for a different culture? You share a little insight on that.
Oh yeah, the program has been incredible. I've been lucky enough to do it for 2 years. And so my Beijing partner last summer was actually the first person who I went to lunch with in Beijing. And so it just starts to develop a family, a global family, which I think we're really fortunate to experience.
Now, the program, concentrates on China. Tell me what you think about the Chinese culture and your point of view on it as an American student going over to China.
Well, there are many instances where I felt like I was in New York. We're taking the subway, we're going around, everything's very fast-paced. It's a really exciting time in Beijing right now, and I'm looking forward to making films there in the future.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to see your film.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm here with Laura, another USC filmmaker. Laura, your film is?
My film is called Shadow House.
And can you tell us a little bit about Shadow House? Tell us what it's about and your process of making it.
Yes, my partner in China, Yang Yijing, was very interested in traditional Chinese shadow theater. And so we decided to focus on a shadow play group outside of Beijing. We followed their daily life. It was a very interesting group because they live and work communally. It's a group of about 16 or 17 people total. And they perform traditional shadow theater. And their group is also very famous within China because they also have a group of little people who perform shadow theater, and that kind of distinguishes their group. So,
how long was the process of making the film?
It was 6 weeks total, so it's a very, very tight schedule.
You really had to immerse yourself in the Chinese culture.
Absolutely. I mean, from the moment we stepped off the plane, it was total immersion.
Your partner there is very, very interested in that, and then you come from the United States, and you're immersed into this completely different realm. So how is it dealing with someone that already knows what's going on, and someone coming from a different point of view that had never really seen that before?
Well, I think that was actually the most interesting part of the process, and that shows very much in all of the films. It's very interesting because you're put in a position where you're very dependent on your partner, because obviously your partner is the one who knows the language, knows the culture, and knows the city. So we were kind of like little puppies following along for the first week or two. It's very interesting because you can see in the films that there are these 2 different perspectives. There is the insider, intimate kind of perspective on the culture, but then the American filmmakers who contributed also had that kind of fresh perspective on.
Well, spending 6 weeks in China, do you have a new appreciation for the culture? I mean, is this your first year doing the I would say doing this program?
Yeah, it was my first time ever to go to China. I have spent time in Japan and Korea before, so I wasn't sure quite what to expect when I first went over there, and it's a really wonderful place because Beijing in particular feels like a very vibrant, alive kind of city. You can literally see it transforming before your eyes. I've never seen so much bustle and construction and juxtaposition of what feels like a very old and traditional kind of lifestyle with an extremely modern urban lifestyle.
Now, as a filmmaker, spending 6 weeks there, China seems to be like a part of you. Is that somewhere you would like to film again when you're finished with your schooling?
I would be very interested in going back, of course. Yeah, it's a fascinating country, and we only got a very, very small glimpse of one tiny slice of China. I mean, it's such a vast culture, and each area in each language reflects a very different sensibility and heritage. And so I'd be very interested in doing further study and travel there.
Well, I want to thank you very much for coming down, and we can't wait to see your film, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.